We now have a live talk on the challenges and solutions to Sanatana Dharma, the vision of Adi Shankaracharya ji by Swami Paramatmananda ji. Pujya Swami Paramatmananda Saraswati ji is a senior disciple of Param Pujya Swami Dananda Saraswati ji, an embodiment of knowledge and boundless compassion. Pujya Swami Paramatmananda ji, the founder Acharya of Arsha Vidya Mandir Rajkot, has fervor and commitment towards the Vedic way of life. Pujya Swamiji's personal life reflects simplicity and love for everyone. Swamiji's talks reveal clarity about the vision of the Shastras and a deep understanding of modern life. His talks are enriched with systematic, rational, lucid presentations with relevant examples, which harmonize his subtle appreciation of contemporary individual, social, cultural, and political problems with his profound knowledge of Vedanta. His discourses are very lively and one of a kind. Pujya Swamiji has a deep sense of concern for society, which gets reflected in his works. His teaching activities are not confined to spiritual seekers only. Different segments of the society receive Vedic wisdom through various teaching modules as designed by Swamiji. I request you to please type in your comments and questions in the chat box below, and Swamiji will take them at the end of his discourse. I humbly request Swamiji to please start his discourse.
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahavidyam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namaste to Hari and your entire team, Vijaya Lakshmi and all others. I don't know who are there, but still Namaste and Hari Om to all of you. We study, I'm sure so much of Vedanta must have been revealed by so many of our acharyas, so I'll not get much into Vedanta. But still, just few things I want to tell, one or two things. We study the Sattva Rajas Tamo Gunatmika Maya Asti, the Prakriti. These gunas are not like qualities, small or big or tall or short or red or white or etc. It's just a name. The Shastra has given just a word for certain expressions, certain obtaining conditions, certain experiences. When there is an expression of knowledge and sukham, to some extent nirnimitta sukham, sense of contentment, that is called, since these gunas are nothing but the Prakriti, they express in the creation in this form. So also too much of desire, too much of ambition, greed is an expression of rajas. Slothfulness, sluggishness, etc. is an expression of tamas. And in Gita it is said, Rajas tamascha vibhuya sattvam bhavati bharata, rajas sattvam tamaschaiva, and The sattvam, tamas, rajas tatha. Overwhelming other two, one guna becomes predominant. Overwhelming rajas and tamas, sometimes sattva is predominant. Sometimes overwhelming tamas and sattva, rajas becomes predominant. And sometimes overwhelming sattva and rajas, tamas becomes predominant. The whole creation is cyclic, you know. Saevayam bhutva bhutva praviliyate. In the 8th chapter, Bhagavan says again, so this cyclic predominance or overwhelming expression of one or another guna is always there. Therefore, Bhagavan Bhagavad Path Shankaracharya ji, while introducing his teachings or his commentary in Bhagavad Gita, the need for avatara or connecting these famous 4th chapter shlokas, yada yada hi dharmasya dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. And earlier when he said, sakale neha yogo nashtaf parantapa sa evam maya tedya yoga proktah puratan. Yogaha nashtaha. Nashtaha means, since it is Sanatana, there is no Nasha. But what is it? What is the condition that prevails, which necessitated the avatara? There he says, in introductory Sangati Bhashya, Dirghena Kalena Anushtatrunam Kamod Bhavat Hiyamana Viveka Vijnana Hetukena Adharmena Abhibhuyamane Dharme Vardhamane Cha Adharme Jagataha Sthitim Paripalaishuhu Sa Adikarta Narayanakhyo Vishnu Bhaumasya Brahmanasya Brahmanatvasya Rakshanartham Devakyam Vasudevat Kila Amshena Krishna Sambhabhuva. Anushtatrunam Kamod Bhavat. When rajas became predominant, Yamana Viveka Vijnane, the discrimination. Viveka is all the way. First is Kartavya Akartavya Viveka, or you can say Dharma Adharma Viveka. Then comes Nitya Nitya Viveka, and then Satya Mithya Viveka. That Viveka, Hiyamana Viveka Vijnana Hetu. Because of that, Adharmena Abhibhuyamana Dharme. Adharma was overwhelming. Dharma Vardhamane Cha Adharme. And when the adharma was predominant, growing, Jagataha Sthitim Paripalayishu, desirous of maintaining the Srishti, he took up that. Similar situation prevailed when Bhagavad Path Shankaracharya ji took incarnation. Though we hear society was fragmented, but the fragmentation was of a different kind, and the fragmentation that you see today is of a different kind. Those days, the Dharma Purushartha was there, and they were fighting for the forms. Very few people talked about the spirit, but then they were insisting about these are the forms, that to do puja, etc., a lifestyle form, and fighting for the form of the Ishvara. As we study in Shankara Digvijaya, Bhagavan Bhagavad Path, when he traveled all along, right from Rameshwaram to in between Madurai and up to Kashmir, and in Trambaka, etc., he met not only Shaivas and Vaishnavas, but Ganapatyas also, Devi Upasakas also, and among Shaiva Vaishnavas are also there were divisions, different groups. insisting I am right and you are right. That the forms of prayers, forms of daily life, that kind of division was prevalent in those days. It is mentioned that there were 72 sampradayas, all insisting that I am right. And he gave a common form in terms of Panchayat and Puja. Therefore, Bhagavad Pad earned the title Shanmata Sthapana Charyaya Namaha. In one of the Ashtotar Namavali, we have his name as the Shanmata Sthapana Charya. One thing also we should know, sometimes Pujya Swamiji often used to insist, and his uniqueness was the right word. When we use an improper word, it just conveys altogether improper vision. Like a common thing today I find in all our functions about Shankaracharya ji or conferences, they brand it as a Shankara Vedanta. Vedanta is not Shankar Vedanta. Vedanta is there, Upanishad is there since Anadi Kala. He just gave a new lease to it and then he just re-established and taught to the society. But there's a Shankar Vedanta. Similarly, Shankara Digvijayam. And then he vanquished all the Panditas and all Sampradaya heads and had a dialogue and challenge, and that's not a point. Because when you know the self, there is no desire to vanquish anyone else. Naiva tasya krutena arthaha na akrutena kasyana. You see in the third chapter, and there are so many. Gnanam rutena truptasya krutyam asti kim. There is nothing to be achieved for him. Who is a wise person? Sarva bhuta hite rata. That word Digvijaya gives a feeling that he went all around and challenged and then vanquished. No. The whole travel, or I would say ordeal in those days to travel in this country, such a vast country, and when there was neither communication nor transport infrastructure of any kind, and to travel on foot, and not so much of population. Therefore, I would say ordeal. He undertook the ordeal sheer out of compassion. Not that he wanted to establish the supremacy of Vedanta. That was not the idea. Idea was to give a right vision to the people. The same feeling that was there, and that's how at Kashi, that's how this Bhajagovindam just came out. We say this shloka, Gita Sugita Kartabhya. Why? Ya Swayam Padmanavasya Mukha Padmat Vinismruta. It just came out of compassion. Seeing Arjuna's problem, which was not there. And similarly, whole ordeal was taken out of compassion. Two kinds of infighting was there. Infighting for the forms, and some of them were infighting for the spirit. In other words, for want of the words I am using this word, there was religious fighting and there was a spiritual fighting. In English, they don't have word. They were fighting for dharma and they were fighting for adhyatma. They have a word for adhyatma called spiritual. That's the nearest word, but doesn't convey. Atmanam adhikritya dvartate tad adhyatma. Talking about the reality, Swarupa of the self, Swarupa of Ishvara, Swarupa of Jagat and revealing oneness. That is a vision, Adhyatma. There were two kinds of fighting or two kinds of challenges to be dealt with. One was dharmika. A person can be dharmic, but not necessarily adhyatmic. Adhyatmic has to be or will be dharmic, cannot be otherwise. But they were holding on to forms. So he synthesized the forms by giving panchayat and puja and explained them. The moksha is not achieved by any other means except the knowledge and that compassion to take people to moksha. He took up the dialogues with acharyas. And I would say in those days, they have had, I would use, this is my word, intellectual honesty. They were honest enough, objective enough to do vada and to see the truth in opponent's statements, to see the fallacy in one's own thinking, and the courage, again, cognitive courage to accept in the vision in the light of new understanding. And that's how Bhagavan Bhagavad Pad would talk to them, and when they turn to the right vision or right path, again, for the short of the word I am using, path of knowledge and Vedanta. Today, we are facing different kind of challenges. Of course, challenges never remain same, and solution is also not the same. That therefore, today we have 3 or 4 types of challenges we face. That fragmentation is there in the form of forms, form of dharma. Everybody talking something here and there. And we have Vedic, Astika darshanas and Nastik also. Astika primarily doesn't mean belief in Ishvara, that with reference to darshana. Astika means those who accept Vedas as pramana. Nastika means don't accept Vedas as pramana. That time also there were Bauddhas and Jainas and Astika darshanas who took up, who accepted Vedas, who accepted Upanishads and interpreted differently, like Dvaitas and Vishishta Dvaitis and etc., what we have today. But then the thing is, today the magnitude of Nastika is very big. And another thing, challenge I find today is, people have no clarity about spirituality. They think the forms is the ultimate thing. Even our Supreme Court has said, and I see all the dignitaries talking on all kinds of platforms, that Hindu, and they call it Hinduism, Hinduism is a way of life. That's a first confusion. It is not way of life. Hindu Dharma, what they call it Hindu. The right word is though Sanatana or Vedic Dharma, but we accept it. Hindu is vision of truth or vision of life. What is the goal of human life? And how to achieve? The way of life is not an end in itself. Way of life is not given for itself. Way of life is given to lead you to the vision of life, vision of truth. And that truth happens to be non-dual. Jiv, Jagat, Aishwar, Aikya. That is a vision. And to discover that vision, this way of life is. Today's Hindus are not clear about the moksha purushartha. Those days, purushartha was going to some lokas and may not be clear about it. And today, Purushartha is some psychological freedom from psychological problems. I see today so many people, past who talk of some asanas and pranayamas and some meditation and thing like that, and talk of some chow chow bhakti. They are addressing the psychological problem. There is a hell of a difference between psychological problem and spiritual problem. They even don't know that there is something called spiritual problem. And they have become a spiritual gurus. They are nothing more than, I would say, psychotherapists. Even they don't deserve to be called as therapists. A therapist does it more scientifically in a better way. They are doing it in a very crude way. Thank God that Hindus have Shraddha, and the Shraddha works, and they do something and they get some peace of mind. So today, first and the foremost challenge is psychological issues are addressed by amateur artists. And people think that they have become religious and they have become spiritual. That is one problem. People are just unaware, like Pujya Swamiji had said once, almost except that 1/12 or 1/16 of the population, that they don't know that there is something called moksha. Except where Sanatana Dharma, no one talks of moksha. And among them, except Hindus, nobody knows there is a possibility called moksha in this life. Similarly, today, our own Hindus are unaware that there is something called moksha. And they go for some psychological solutions, what they call it, peace of mind and freedom from stress and all chow things. And they think they have become spiritual. One problem. Second challenge today, which Shankaracharya didn't have, I suppose, society at large lived a life of dharma. This was a dharma kshetra. Our bhumi was dharma kshetra. They were fragmented in the forms, but about dharma. And the meaning of dharma means kartavya, duty, contributory action. And the society was committed to those things. Today, neither moksha is a purushartha, much less dharma is also not a purushartha. Artha and kama is only purushartha. The country which was dharma kshetra, I have seen some of the judgments when I worked for Ram Setu. I was hunting then for some references in some of the judgments. So judgments of Calcutta High Court, Madras, then High Court, and then Bombay High Court, judges have commented. Look at this society, so much committed to ethical values. When they come to witness box, they will not speak untruth. They are afraid of papa. And we see in the first chapter, the Arjuna's shoka was nothing but papa bhirutvam. Ahobat mahat papam, narake niyatam vas, etc., etc. So dharma purushartha is also missing today. It's a modern challenge. Because artha and kama is the purushartha. And to some extent, only kama is a purushartha. Artha is subservient to by kama. If someone can give me kama without artha, people are that ready, and that is why casinos and gamblings are going. And when there is artha kama, third chapter verse, Mahashano Mahapapma Vidyena Mahivaiya Vairina. There is a society, you can say Duryodhan society, where the end is more important than the means. Sadhana Shuddhi is missing. Sadhya Shuddhi is also missing. But sometimes sadhya may be legitimate, but then means are illegitimate. There is no guilt, there is no pain, there is no maryada, there is no shame in committing to illegitimate means in getting some legitimate ends. So that's a second challenge. First, some of them are only talking about psychological problems. There is no dharma, no kartabya. Forget about Vedic karmas, Agnihotradi, etc., Darsha Purnamas, etc. But even Laukikas or some basic values, our religious values, Matrudevo Bhava, Pitrudevo Bhava, is missing. Even simple ethics is missing. Day-to-day ethics of honesty, truthfulness. And people shamelessly tell this, that a regular official income is this much and unofficially I get this much in government jobs. People shamelessly accept cash donations. I have experienced this. When they invite, there is a value that in kathas, you should invite Swami sons. And I will get invited in big kathas, Muraiba, Puramesh, and all fellows. I have been there for a day, and then you go there, and then they give you dakshina, and they give cash. And I didn't have any personal accounts. I give it to trust, and we send the receipt. They are called up and said, Swamiji, why did you send receipt? Such big functions, so-called religious functions, not only katha, any other, quite a few I said, are organized with cash flow. Dharma is missing. That is the second challenge. Third challenge we have, these are all the internal challenges I am talking about. And internally, at least those days, at least we don't have seen any mention. There was no political challenge, no challenge from the ruler's side. In this era of democracy, global democracy, there is thinking, especially communist and other parties committed to such thinkings. They are out and out to destroy the forms, destroy our Shraddha, destroy our culture, etc. That's an internal challenge. And Hindus are blissfully ignorant like guinea pigs. Sometimes they send video and then they glorify. There is a fashion nowadays to censure our forms, to talk ill about our culture. Every culture, every society has something. As they say in Gujarati, when there is a village, there will be some garbage bin and garbage corner. So every society had it. So we also had those some untouchability and few other issues, sati and child marriage, etc. But then understand, Hindu society has been honest all the time and it has corrected itself. We don't need those guys to censure us all the time and make us feel we are bad. And they create in the next generation a feeling that our dharma is bad. No, we don't need. We had to have this tradition of Smriti Granthas. All these years, thousands of years, Acharyas came and corrected. Whatever was there, Tamogun Karya was there. They also have had this slavery. The worst thing, you go to states and see the Battle of Gettysburg and the museum, my God, it's so agonizing. They also had to have sexual discrimination. Even some of the religions have today. I told in United Nations that we have to have equality. Even women cannot reach to that certain top, whereas our akhadas have accepted Mahamandaleshwars. So we correct ourselves. We are ready for change. But there are people with some hidden agenda. They create this. And that's a challenge. Hindus do correct themselves. And it comes. It's a human to exploit the weaker. Every society has, every organization has this. And that's a third challenge. We have to address our political or so-called socialist and reformist thinkers. And last but not the least, equally more powerful, I would use Pujya Swamiji's words, the aggressive religions. They are out and out. And sometimes I see this. They are not even religions. I feel they are religio-politico organization. The agenda is political. Wherever they had been there, they established supremacy of their belief system, of their theology, and they're out to convert. They don't have cognitive honesty. Intellectual honesty is missing. And with the globalization, that is another disadvantage to us. The world, we have to think globally. Any issues, not only in business, the society also look at our food habits of the generation next, our clothing, our certain lifestyle, and then you have to address to them also in certain way, otherwise you are not accepted. I have been to and I'm going to universities and things, you have to talk in certain way. But this globalization is not, we are forcibly connected. Whether you want it or not, something happening in China, you suffer, all the world today. Even business-wise or some political appeal in United States can certainly affect it. This globalization should have nurtured closeness and oneness. Globalization has created distrust and intolerance. They have given a beautiful name of competition, an era of competition. There's a merger took place. It is neither merger or competition. It is like big fish eating away the small fish. The globalization, it is not oneness out of love and compassion. It is one upmanship in terms of possession, an attitude to destroy anyone else who comes closer to me. It is war, not competition. A competitor has a second chance. It is not. And therefore, there are religious and cultural aggressions from outside. These are the challenges. And go by one. First, we have to, Pujya Swamiji has done a historical job in getting them together and at least now accept each other in spite of form differences and spiritual differences. I'm happy to share because I've been through this journey since 2004. Of course, first Sabha, I was not much involved, but since then I'm involved. Now they invite each other on their functions. They go to each other. The differences were not so heartfelt that I don't talk and don't touch and all the time when I meet I just fight. The acharyas have a very cordial atmosphere, feelings among themselves, and they are together for any Hindu issue. Irrelevant in whatever may be their spiritual or religious, adhyatmic or dharmic differences, they stand up together. Whether it may be Rama Setu issue or declaration of World Yoga Day or like this Manmohan governments, this prevention of targeted and group violences issue, anything, they just come. They stand. Now they see the danger that Dharma has. So far the vision was limited to our own sampradaya. Now they are realizing the second danger, as Pujya Swamiji would say. The carnivorous animal has to seek his food, only its food. While the herbivorous has two jobs, to seek the food and protect itself from those carnivores. Now they see this danger. And there are quite a few acharyas are coming up in open to have political stability. A government which has a sensitivity and wisdom to appreciate the Hindu culture, Sanatan culture, Sanatan vision, and Sanatan values. They openly support. If not openly, at least they are they are ready to support in whichever way they want, they can, with limitations. But then that awareness has come. And it's good also, they don't take too much of stand. And this you can see today. The society also is getting aware about. Hindus were blissfully ignorant how they are destroying our culture and religion. Very subtly, like a rat, or very sugar-coatedly, they were destroying in the name that all religion are same and everybody is bye-bye and all kinds of goody-goody thing. Now they are conscious about it, thanks to the social media. And the classic thing is, recently, few kathakars were chanting, were doing Allah Dhun in Ram Katha. And they were advising, some of them had gone idiotic to it, such a stupid thing, gone to the extent that it is good to drink sometime on the Vyaspita, they say. And it is good to do namaz also. In a typical Swamijis were neutralized Hindus. And it was so much of social media pressure that all of them had to apologize. And they promised that we will not do that. So there is an awareness coming up among the Hindus that we need to protect our dharma. Only government cannot protect. Certainly, we need a government who is sensitive, as I said, and then there is some knowledge about it. Quite a few laws were made just blissfully, ignorantly, and either with the hidden agenda also. But now we have a government and we need to support. I'm not telling, this is another thing people used to tell me. When I started this, and I was Modi ji happened to be from Gujarat, and then I happened to have some contacts with him, and they said, Swamiji, you are getting too much into politics. Hindus should know this. A dharma can flourish and can survive, especially today when there is Rajya Ashraya. All these aggressive religions are flourishing because they have Rajya Ashraya. Even this Judaism, such a small country, such a less population, but then it has a Rajya Ashraya. Therefore it survives. What a constitution we are gifted with. Secular constitution. So we cannot have straight Rajya Ashraya. All these Rajya Ashraya dharmas have federal budget. They have resources. And when then the resources and protections. We don't have protections and we don't have resources. So we have to fight it out. But if you can't have that, at least we should have a sensible Shashaka who will not form any kind of laws detrimental to Dharma and will protect the Dharma. Like simple, this thin talaq prevention, this bill, I tell you, will save us from love jihad also. Will save us from demographic changes also. Likewise, we need a common civil code. We need a leader who has the courage to implement the policies. And our Swamis, I have started talking in international forum that you need to reform your religion. If there can be new Smriti Grantha for us, every Acharya gave new Grantha. If Hindus change themselves, Sati Pratha and etc., all kinds of things, we change. Why don't you correct? Like New Testaments, there should be new book. looking at the human. I mean, modern society. Internationally, we have to position ourselves. Internationally, we have to be vocal about this. That we are vocal about two things. We have to vocal about the glory of our own dharma, which nobody put forward, and therefore they maligned it. And we have to tell them also, you also need to change. You need to be honest while talking about. Everybody talks. Ours is a religion of peace. If it is a religion of peace, then why there are wars in the world? I don't know. That is a mithya. That is Maya. This statement. What is the definition of Maya? They all think we are the religion of peace, and politicians talking religion, such and such a religion is a religion of peace. It is not. When you talk of exclusivity, you are not a religion of peace. You are going, I use this word, you are going against the fundamental human right. Human rights, freedom to choose. I have freedom to wear, freedom to eat, freedom to live. I should have freedom to believe. You cannot say that if you don't believe in us, then you are damned or you are kafir or whatever. You cannot say this. It's against the fundamental rights of freedom that we have to tell internationally. And I'm happy to share, the government listens to Acharya Sabha. Acharya Sabha, in particular me, I have taken a stand from day one. I would remain a face in the crowd. I never had any social account. Recently, out of pressure, I had to do because of this Palgar event and this lockdown. Just we did it, but many issues, when we go and talk to them, they listen and change. And they amend the policies, and they understand our sensitivities, and they respect Acharya Sabha. So Puja, it is all blessings of Pujya Swamiji that Shashakas, as in matter of dharma, if something was done improper by the previous government, or if this government is doing, then we go to them and tell them, they listen and rectify. So we have to create this awareness among our Hindus, and more so in Swamis. It's good. I'm not saying you shouldn't confining to teaching and preaching the religion, but we have to create an awareness among our devotees, and we have to be proactive to protect. I can't find a better example or word than Pujya Swamiji said. We are herbivorous. We need to find our food, but we need to learn to protect ourselves also. They are working very strategically. They have plans, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. And we Hindus often go emotionally. So we have to do cool-headedly and strategically. The way enemy comes, you have to respond the same way. So we have to remain the face in the crowd without making much noise and going into media and proclaiming I did that and I did that and blah, blah, blah. Rather than becoming emotional and sometimes instinctual. People get so emotional and they say something, and that maligns the image of dharma. That disrupts the strategy. We have to be careful in choosing our words, and then we have to work with the strategy in future and go step by step. That all Swamis should tell to their students, wait, have some patience and have some trust on the rulers. Because in public life, more so in politics, 1 + 1 doesn't become 2. Sometimes it becomes 900 plus 900 plus 926. Sometimes it becomes minus 2020. The dynamics are altogether different. And certain things have to be done at a proper time. So we need to develop a patience that also people should be told. I see most of the Hindus certainly become so impatient and so vocal about this is not done, that is not done. It is not that. I would take this opportunity to tell which I had been telling in Acharya Sabha. Last Acharya Sabha, if you see the videos, I have told so many times. As far as the integrity is concerned of these present day rulers, I would that Hindutva is 100+%. You don't question the bona fides are beyond any question. How they do, we have to have patience and trust them because they know better than us. So then that also today Hindu society needs to learn. A small thing here and there, you just start blaming the government and asking for result immediately. It doesn't happen. We have to have patience. We have to trust them. And they have proved that. This Ram Janmabhoomi judgment, my God, this got so solved. This Kashmir, every Acharya Sabha we had passed this resolution. And when we met him, every time we tell this, common civil code and this, and when even before this, I still remember the expression, Swamiji, thoda dheeraj rakho, ho jayega. And now I understand. They were doing this. And they just gave us, not a single stone was pelted when the whole Kashmir has been converted into union territory. They have done this, and I'm sure they would do this. We need to accept some leadership. We need to have patience and trust for the leadership rather than just becoming too vocal about our pain. I appreciate there is a pain, but you have to wait for it and you have to strategically work and need to create a pressure. In a democracy, if something is against us by the rulers in some states, we have to create a pressure. We have to become aware. We have to be more proactive in doing this. Then only we can ward off certain legislations, etc. with this hope, I'm sure. And I have never been a pessimist person. I have gone through those days when I couldn't sleep in the beginning. Those emails were coming and I was traveling and so painful. But then all the time I found it, the Bhumi is Rakshita by none other than Narayana. Bhagavan is our Rakshaka. All the time. Sambhavami yuge. He gives this Amsha Avatar. In this modern days, he gave the Amsha in Pujya Swami. Pujya Swamiji told once that I have been sent to teach. I am Ishvara's Vibhuti. When we were sitting with Modi ji in PM house, he said, I am a Vibhuti. There is a Vibhuti Amsha teaching and you have a Vibhuti to rule. Bhagavan will set. Don't feel pessimistic. Some alarms are so much frightening, but then I am sure we will be protected. And I see the bright future for Dharma and the world needs. As I said, globalization has created more distrust and fragmentation. Globally, we are connected on your fingertip. FaceTime and all that is done now. That's how we are surviving today. But then, the destructive approach, one-upmanship approach, where all the world today needs Vedanta, oneness, the compassion, the love, that is needed. Even at a yoga level, that Sayogi Paramo Mata Atmopammena Pashyati, and that oneness message we only can give, and I'm sure, I'm confident, Bharat will give one day. And we are the foundation stones today. Or we are at the plinth level, you can say, and that is going to come. The glory is going to come with that trust in Ishvara and experience. Like my own experience, but the days I have seen and what it is today, I'm confident. I close my talk. Namaste. And thank you, Hari. And I wish you and your team more and more resources and attitude that we unify all the forces who work for Hindu Dharma and then help the whole world. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, we only will be able to do. But at least we start with Sarve Hindavaha Bhavantu Sukhi. Let's put our house in order. And may you be strong enough to do this. May all Gurus, Pujya Swamiji and others give you blessings to your team. And may Bhagavan give you all blessings and grace that you can work hard. And all those who are listening, let us be soldiers for our Rishi Runam. This is modern Rishi Runam. We may not do those yajnas and tarpanam, that's okay. Even Pitru Runam, our Pitrus had such a hard time in giving us samskaras. And the Pitru Runam, Rishi Runam, Dev Runam is making Hindu a Hindu. Up the sleeves and do Namaste.